Hello everyone, in this video I'll be translating and summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Shahbaz Gill to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Shahbaz Gill's words. In today's most important news, we start with the tragic situation in Buna, Swat and nearby areas where heavy rainfall in the mountains has caused an unprecedented high-level flood. The floodwaters are so strong that three-story houses are being swept away within seconds. Some residents managed to escape, while others were trapped inside. Thinking about saving belongings is out of the question. Their entire life savings have been swept away with their homes. The Khyber Pakhtunkhwa government is making every effort and should continue doing more, but the efforts already being made should also be appreciated. Today's news is that the government's only helicopter in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa was conducting a rescue operation in the area. As I mentioned, the water is so forceful and the flood current so high that people are stranded, some trapped in the middle of the water, some on rooftops. In such cases, a helicopter is essential for rescue. Unfortunately, today, the helicopter crashed in the same areas where it was carrying out relief operations. 3 people, including the pilot, were martyred. May Allah elevate their ranks and grant patience to their families. There could be many reasons for this. One obvious fact is that these pilots are not specifically trained for such rescue situations. Unfortunately, their expertise is generally for regular flights. When they try to operate in unusual, dangerous conditions, accidents can happen. Nevertheless, it is a tragic development. Another incident comes from Lower Deer, where rescue personnel risked their lives to save 2 children stranded right in the middle of dangerous floodwaters. Their bravery deserves as much praise as possible. In my opinion, when just a day or two ago medals were being awarded to people even their families didn't know, the real deserving recipients are these kinds of rescue workers who risk their lives to save others. Across Pakistan, anyone who tries to help humanity and fulfill their duty in such conditions should definitely be considered for awards. These people should be recommended and honoured so that instead of giving medals to touts and creating more of them, which has already damaged the country to the point of turning Pakistan into Totistan, we encourage the real heroes, like these rescue workers who saved those 2 children today. We also appeal to the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa government to continue the good work they are doing and to do even more, because people are facing a severe crisis. On the other hand, there is a very strange situation being reported by Pakistan's TV channels. Reliable media sources say that today, when the floods are at their highest level, the ISPR and our premier intelligence agency, they didn't specify but perhaps referring to ISI or MI, are telling them to criticize the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa government, showing that they made no preparations and have completely failed to handle the flood. You know me, I am the first to criticize the KPK government when they do wrong. In fact, they might dislike me even more than the Punjab government does. But when they do a good job, or when there is a situation beyond their control, I must defend them. Just look at this flood. It's so extreme that even the bridges over rivers have gone underwater. What could the government or its officials realistically do in such conditions? Yes, it's true that there needs to be long-term planning. The houses and illegal structures built on riverbanks were not made in a day or 5 days. They've been there for decades. Across Pakistan, such encroachments have continued, and when the river reclaims its natural path, it sweeps away buildings along the way. What saddens me is that instead of encouraging Lieutenant General Imran, head of the NDMA, and others, many of whom are retired military officers, to take action and help people, because NDMA's core duty is national disaster management, the focus today seems to be on finding ways to damage the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa government and weaken the bond between Imran Khan and the people. The aim is to plant the idea that you voted for Imran Khan, but governance is poor. Instead of running rescue operations, TV channels have been ordered to push this narrative, which you can still see playing out on air right now. We also request Lieutenant General Imran, NDMA's head, to fulfill his responsibility. Issuing a warning about high floods is not your main job. That's the meteorological department's work. NDMA's role is not just to say there is a flood risk in the next 3 days, but to actually help people in danger and rescue them from it. Moving to the next news, on Murray Road, the situation is tense today and was tense yesterday. We'll see what happens tomorrow. The cause is that a mosque, reportedly the Madni Mosque, was demolished. It is said that an agreement had been made to construct a madrasa and mosque at another location instead, but now people are angry and have clashed with the police. the SSP operations was injured. There was a scuffle between police, religious scholars and citizens. Physical altercations took place and eventually the police had to retreat. The crowd has even laid the foundation for rebuilding the mosque on the same site. It's said there's a plan to demolish 3,000 mosques, or at least that's what's circulating in the media. Whether the number is exactly 3,000 less or more is unclear, but lists containing hundreds of mosques have surfaced. Our prayer is that tensions do not escalate further and remain under control because public anger is high. People say that in Islamabad entire housing societies have been built on illegally occupied land, yet no action is taken against even an inch of them. All the focus is on mosques. This point is valid. If a mosque has indeed been built on illegal land, then of course you have the right to relocate it elsewhere through dialogue. But if you have one set of rules for property tycoons and elites and another for ordinary people's mosques, then people will be enraged and there will be a reaction. We pray that this reaction remains under control, that this fire does not spread and engulf everything. The government should act with caution before carrying out such activities. The next news is that Miss Maryam Nawaz Sharif has departed for her tour of Japan. Recall that we reported this to you about 3 weeks to a month ago, specifically on July 22nd. At that time we told you that Miss Maryam had decided to travel to Japan on August 15th. Yes, that's right, August 15th. But she did not want to travel alone, she would get lonely, so she decided to take at least 16 people with her on the trip. However, the matter didn't end there. She told the Air Force that on her way she wanted to stop in Bangkok, Thailand. Yes, you heard correctly. She planned to leave Pakistan on the 15th, spend the night of the 15th, the whole day of the 16th, and the night of the 16th in Bangkok, and then on the 17th continue on to Japan. She planned to stay in Japan until the 24th, then fly out. On her return, she decided not to come directly to Pakistan but to stop in Singapore. Nice, isn't it? Fun on the way there and fun on the way back. Let me also tell you that our sources for this information are not within the Punjab government. They're from another side that received the details and passed them to us. They had already been told to make preparations and they had done some initial arrangements for the aircraft. This is probably the same plane that was previously used to fly to Switzerland, if you'll remember. At the time we first reported this, we knew about 10 people accompanying her, which already surprised us. Later, we told you that Maryam Aurangzeb had made a whirlwind 2-day trip to Japan just last week to make arrangements so that Miss Maryam Nawaz's arrival would not go unnoticed and that high-level Chinese officials would receive her. Not Prime Minister or President level, of course, but at least a mayor or some official to give her a formal welcome. We also told you that when Maryam Aurangzeb returned, she was not very pleased with the arrangements in Japan and that Maryam Nawaz might reconsider her visit. But she didn't. On July 22nd, we told you that Miss Maryam would stop in Thailand for 2 days before going to Japan, and today, as you can see in the video, she has indeed arrived in Thailand first. She'll be there for 2 days before leaving on the 17th for Japan. After Japan, as we've already told you, she plans to go to Singapore before returning. That Singapore stop might still change to another country, but for now, Singapore is confirmed. She'll spend 2 days there on her way back. Let me also tell you that the aircraft being used is a Pakistan Air Force jet provided to Miss Maryam Nawaz. We have documentation proving that Pakistan Air Force pilots, crew and the aircraft are currently at her service. And why not? Just the other day she herself said that the current Air Chief Marshal is her brother, meaning a very close family connection. So naturally she gets these privileges. But let me tell you about something that is not her right. She's taken a delegation of about 40 people with her. The exact number might be a few more or less, but our sources say it's around 40. Among them, the Chief Secretary accompanies her everywhere, although by definition a Chief Secretary is never the personal secretary of a Chief Minister and doesn't travel like this. They're supposed to be running the province from the back end. But these days, customs are different. More importantly, keep an eye on a man in a white coat travelling with her. You'll see him almost everywhere with Miss Maryam. He is considered an important figure in her system and is associated with the C&W, that is, Communications and Works Ministry, which has a lot of resources. They've also taken someone from local government, another department with resources, and the Sports Minister, who reportedly covers most of the expenses of Jati Umrah. I believe his name is Faisal Ayub, if I'm not mistaken, a sports-related advisor or minister. Now, of course, there's no marathon in Japan for the sports minister to run, nor are there any Olympics right now, but he's still going. because, as I said, he handles expenses for Jati Umrah. And naturally, Mariam Aurangzeb is also accompanying them because Miss Mariam herself can barely write basic words, and for all such work, her remote control is Mariam Aurangzeb. What Miss Mariam does publicly is just lip-syncing. The background work is all done by Mariam Aurangzeb. We reported all of this to you on July 22, along with other information about what Miss Mariam plans to do. You've seen that whenever we bring you a story, we verify it thoroughly. Back on the 22nd, we already had the full documentation and the complete plan. Even now, we have all the details from the offices that arrange these trips, but if we make them public now, it could cause problems for certain people. So we're holding them for a better time, when there's not so much oppression on the people. Now then, about medals, Miss Mariam's brother, our Air Chief Marshal Zahir Ahmad Babar Sidhu, Field Marshal Asim Munir, has also received a medal, and it's a very interesting one. A very respectable retired Major General from Pakistan's military, widely respected and with a distinguished record, sent me a message saying that the medal awarded to Asim Munir is called the Hilal-e-Jurat, or Crescent of Courage. To be honest, I don't know much about the ranking of these awards. I do know that the Nishan-e-Haidar is the highest military award. The Major General explained that Hilal-e-Jurat is the second highest, right after Nishan-e-Haidar, and that it is a very significant honour. He also told me that the 8 Pakistan Air Force pilots who actually engaged with India in aerial combat and contributed to what we claimed as victory were given the Sitara-e-Jurat, or Star of Courage, which is one step below the Hilal-e-Jurat. So the order is Nishan-e-Haidar at the top, then Hilal-e-Jurat, then Sitara-e-Jurat. This means that our Field Marshal, who obviously did not personally sit in a cockpit or fire missiles, arranged for himself to receive the Hilal-e-Jurat, while the pilots who risked their lives on the front lines received the award one rank lower. Another important fact he shared with me is that former army chiefs Ayub Khan and Yahya Khan also had Hilal-e-Jurat. Ayub Khan was army chief during the 1965 war and Yahya Khan during the 1971 war. Both had Hilal-e-Jurat, and now our current Field Marshal has it too. Moving on, Putin and Trump's meeting has either started or is about to start, because today President Putin arrived in Alaska, the 50th state of the US originally. This meeting was to be held in Europe, but that wasn't possible because the International Criminal Court has issued charges against Putin for war crimes in Ukraine, meaning he could be arrested in Europe. Meetings could have taken place in countries that are not signatories to the ICC's procedures, such as the US or even Dubai or the UAE. The UAE was considered as a venue, but Alaska was chosen, being a US state geographically close to Russia. While this meeting happens, President Trump has been keeping Indian Prime Minister Moeed quite worried. Trump announced again today that if the meeting does not produce positive results regarding Ukraine, he will further increase tariffs on India, adding to India's troubles. Now we'll see how Moeed responds in all this. That wraps up our translation of Shahbaz Gill's video. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.